My best friend Lila and I wanted one quiet Christmas Eve away from everything. So we booked a small cabin, buried in the woods off an old highway. We got there just after dark. Before we went inside, I pulled out my phone and snapped a quick photo of the cabin, the flash catching the wooden porch and the snow piling up around it. Something about the way it just sat alone in the storm made me shiver, even through the picture. Inside, the place felt colder than it should have. Not physically, just mentally. Like no one had stayed there in a long time. By 10 o'clock, we had hot cocoa on the table and the fire going. The storm outside had swallowed everything. No wind, no creaking, nothing. I went to wash my face before getting ready for bed. The water was running, and underneath it, I could hear the muffled thud of snow gathering on the roof and sliding off in heavy clumps. It almost sounded like footsteps shifting above me, or someone brushing against the outer wall. I paused and listened harder. There was another sound mixed in too, something faint outside the bathroom door. It could have been the storm pushing against the far side of the cabin, but it felt closer than that, like someone quietly moving just beyond the hallway. When I turned off the faucet, the sound had stopped. I went back into the living room. Lila was standing at the front window, her hand half raised, like she was telling me to be quiet. She said, very quietly, "Did you hear footsteps?" There was something in her voice that made my stomach turn. I walked to the window and looked out into the darkness. The porch light barely lit the ground, but I saw them. Deep footprints in the fresh snow, leading from the tree line directly to our front door. Just one set, and no tracks leading away. I tried telling Lila maybe the footprints were from earlier, but the snow had been falling non-stop. They were fresh. I reached into my coat pocket for my phone. Nothing. Lila dug through her bag and came up empty too. We searched the table, the couch, even the firewood basket. No phones. It was like they had vanished into thin air. We turned off the living room lights so the windows wouldn't just reflect our faces back at us. The darkness outside suddenly felt closer, almost pressing against the glass. A sharp knock hit the back door. The sound felt like it came from inside my chest. The back door was on the opposite side of the cabin, facing nothing but woods. There was no light over there at all. Another knock came, slower, almost testing. I whispered, "The footsteps are at the front." Lila whispered back, "Someone's at the back." That meant there might be more than one person outside. We grabbed the closest things that felt like weapons, a fire poker and a heavy lamp. I gripped the poker so tightly, my knuckles turned white. The knocking stopped. The silence returned, but it felt different now, like someone was waiting. It felt like we were sitting in the darkness forever, until another noise broke the silence. The doorknob turned. It wasn't a rattle. It wasn't frantic. Just a slow, patient twist back and forth. Like the person already knew the lock would hold and just wanted to try it anyway. Before we could even decide what to do, a second sound sliced through the cabin. Footsteps above us, on the roof. Each step sank distinctly into the snow on the shingles, moving from one side to the other. The cabin was so small that it felt like the ceiling dipped with each creak. Then, the power went out all at once. The heater stopped humming. The fridge went silent. The fire dimmed until it was barely glowing. The darkness inside the cabin became absolute. We could hear the footsteps shift again. Someone crouched up there, listening. Small, soft tapping hit the window at the far back side of the cabin. Not the living room window near us, but one of the bedroom windows on the opposite side of the house. Lila looked at me, and I knew we were both thinking the same thing. If someone was out that window, then the front door had to be clear. We bolted towards the front door, clutching our makeshift weapons, our hearts pounding so hard it almost drowned out everything else. The cold hit us instantly as we burst outside, both of us swinging on instinct, ready for someone to be standing there. But the front was empty. The truth hit me in a nauseating wave. The tapping wasn't meant to scare us anymore. It was meant to funnel us out into the open. We dropped the poker and the lamp into the snow, and ran for the car as fast as we could. About halfway to the car, something made me look back. I still don't know why. Maybe instinct. Maybe the feeling of frostbite at the back of my neck. But when I turned, there was someone standing at the far edge of the porch. Not moving, not hiding, just standing there in the storm, watching us. The porch light was weak, but it lit enough to show the outline of a tall figure, shoulders squared, head tilted slightly, like they were studying us. I couldn't see a face, but I could tell they were turned directly towards me. I grabbed Lila's coat and forced her to look. When she did, she made a small sound, almost like a gasp, and that was enough to push us forward even faster. The snow made everything feel slow, and I kept expecting to hear running footsteps behind us, but the figure didn't move. They stayed there on the porch, hands at their sides, just watching as we struggled to get to the car from the long driveway. When we finally reached the car, Lila's hands were shaking so badly, she dropped the keys in the snow. I looked back again as she scrambled to find them, and the figure had stepped off the porch. Just one step, like they wanted to remind us they could move whenever they wanted. We got the doors unlocked and threw ourselves inside. The headlights came on, cutting across the snow. The figure was gone. Only fresh footprints led from the porch into the darkness of the trees, disappearing after a few yards, where the storm swallowed them up. We sped down the road without speaking, both of us watching the rearview mirror until the cabin disappeared completely. The next morning, we tried to check the cabin's listing on Lila's laptop that she had forgotten in the car, but the listing was gone. The entire profile had been removed. We called the police and went back to the GPS coordinates with them. The cabin was still there, but it was abandoned. Furniture torn apart, walls scratched, the fire pit cold and blackened. Whoever had been inside had clearly left in a hurry, with everything ruined. When the officers searched the rooms, they found both our phones lying in plain sight on the kitchen table, exactly where we had looked for them the night before. It was impossible to miss. Someone had placed them there deliberately, as if to remind us they had been inside, watching us. The officers said it looked like someone had been using the cabin as a trap set to isolate people and do God knows what to them. Later, when I picked up my phone and opened the photos I had taken when we arrived, my hand shook. There it was, the cabin porch covered in snow, just as I had seen it. But then I noticed something in the corner of the frame, a figure standing perfectly still, watching us. The same figure that had been on the porch that night, the one we had seen as we ran for our lives. Thank you for watching and happy early holidays. I'm grateful to be spending the holidays with my family, which is why I uploaded this video earlier. I hope you guys enjoyed and stay warm. So goodbye for now, but not forever.